I'm Greta and I use she, her pronouns. I'm really interested in being a ULA for Comp Sci 5A or potentially Comp Sci 5B, which is the Intro Data Science series. Um, I took them in the fall and winter of this past school year, and I had a lot of fun. It was really cool learning how to use Python to do basically all of the hard work of data analysis for me so that I was just left with interesting visual representations that could help me make connotations, correlations, come up with reasoning and like explanation for why certain trends would be seen in data. Um, I think being a ULA is a phenomenal opportunity. I think that I would be really good at it. I've always loved explaining things to people, and I think I would just have a lot of fun getting to try to teach other people how to use their brains to understand computers, because computers don't always work the same way. Like, they work very logically, very analytically, but that's not necessarily or usually at all the way that our brains work. We like to skip steps and things, and so I think it would be really fun to teach other people to try to like carefully and slowly go through the process of understanding what exactly they're putting in and how it's working and how to read error messages. And I think it would be really great. So I'm going to explain a couple basics of Python today. I know that people struggled with these concepts, especially at the very beginning of 5A, and so I just thought it would be an interesting choice. So I'm going to run some code for you. So a big concept is that Python stores data in a couple different ways. So you've got integers, which are like round numbers. You've got floats, which are numbers with decimals. And you've got strings, which are just whatever is in quotation marks is Python just takes it exactly as is and can print that out. It can do it like twice in a row. It can do all sorts of things, but it can't do math with it like it can with integers and floats. So there's a pretty cool function that we can use, the type function, and we can give it any sort of data. We can give it like a 4, which we know is an integer. And if we run that, we're not actually going to get any output. So another important concept is that Python only does what you tell it to do. Computers, they don't know what we want unless we give them very specific instructions. So we have to tell it that we want it to print it. And when we tell it we want it to print it, then it will tell us that the number 4 is classified as an integer. And we can do that with the other types of data too. So let's do a number like 5.6, and let's do a string. We can use basically anything we want. What's really interesting is if we do a number like 4, but we put it in quotes, now it's going to be classified as a string. So you see that 4 without quotes is an integer, 4 with quotes is a string. And so what that means is if we name 4 with quotes something like 4, and we give it 4 like that, and then we try to have it print 4 plus 2 and have it do math, then let's see what it gives us. So it's actually going to give us an error message, and the reason for that is that it can't do any math with a string. But if we turn 4 into just the integer 4, and then we try to run this exact same code, it's going to give us a 6, because it's going to go back and logically in order say, okay, 4 is an integer. So when I type out FOUR, it's going to be like, oh, that's equal to the number 4, and she wants me to print 4 plus 2, and then Python just does that. So the type function is pretty cool and pretty useful for figuring out how Python is storing your data and how it's using your data. Integers and floats, you can do math with them, and that's pretty cool. But strings, if your data is stored in a string, if you have like a whole table and you just want to like isolate a column and use that column for something, um, if it's actually storing all of your numbers as strings, you're going to have to convert that data. So it's important to know how Python is using your data before you can do things like find the mean of something or the mode, or before you can like actively and effectively use the data, you need to know what the data is telling you. And so that's where the type function and how data is stored and some of those basic functions come in. I hope this has been informative, and thank you.